We are very opportunistic, and entrepreneurship lies at the heart of our organization. We are not, like I said, COVID-19, do the replica, get the share price. We are not that kind of company. We are in the business to grow a business. Data centers has never gone backwards. And with AI, it needs even more.
The property sector is not the most exciting compared to what's going on in the tech stocks. But Mah Sing isn't the typical property developer that just built homes and offices. They are bold enough to jump into brand new industries when they see big opportunities. Remember during COVID-19 pandemic, they surprised everyone by starting a glove business. That move got investors really excited and Mah Sing stocks shot up, but only for a while. As glove prices dropped, so did the hype, and people wondered if Mah Sing was just chasing trends. Now, they're diving into data centers, which are popping up everywhere in Malaysia. Investors are paying attention again, curious if Mah Sing's onto something big this time. I've chatted with the CEO, Ben, and I learned Mah Sing isn't just following trends and being opportunistic. They have a plan for long-term growth, and time will tell if their strategy will make them stand out from other property developers. This is so different. So today I have the CEO of Mah Sing, Mr. Ben. Hi Ben, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Yeah, to talk about property, but more importantly, how Mah Sing is doing things differently compared to other property developers. Right, so let's jump straight down to the topic, right? The one burning question that I have is that Mah Sing, while it is in the property business, but somehow it gives investors an impression that it is a little bit too opportunistic. So let's say, for example, in the past, during Najib's regime, Iskandar region was very hot. Mah Sing was also very hot in that region during that time. Then subsequently, we have the COVID-19 pandemic. Mah Sing went into manufacturing, started to do PPE and stuff like that. And right now, data center is the hot thing in town. And Mah Sing is also involved in data centers. So maybe you can explain to the viewers and to me as well, right? Is that how does Mah Sing comes out with all this business opportunity to venture into?
Good question. And actually, I've been asked a lot about this, from our fund managers and our analysts. And the reality is, we are very opportunistic, and entrepreneurship lies at the heart of our organization and our founder, Tan Sri Leong. Mah Sing, we started off as it's just a humble plastic trader 40 over years ago. But today, and that plastic trading business grew. But from there, it was Tan Sri Leong was the one that actually transformed the company, saw the opportunity of real estate at that time, jumped into it, and transformed the company to now we are more well known as a real estate developer. So yes, we saw the opportunity, he saw the opportunity, went into it, and yeah, there's no denying we are a opportunistic company. We look for opportunities where we can thrive and make money, and we venture into it very aggressively. So the plastic business is still there. Although we are opportunistic, entrepreneurship lies in the heart. We are also a company that never gives up. It doesn't mean that we venture into something. We are not a, how would I put it, a fly by night company, or neither are we like a hit and run, as they call it, or touch and go. No pun intended. If we see an opportunity, we find the opportunity is good, and like in all business, it takes a lot of hard work. It doesn't mean that as you venture into something straight away within 3 months, 6 months, sometimes within a year, you will turn it around, right? You need to invest in it. Same like the real estate business. It took us many, many years before Mah Sing grew and became what we are today. During COVID-19, we saw there's an opportunity for us to venture into healthcare. And so we did. Not because we jumped into something that we don't know. Like I said, we are still in the plastic business. We are very, very strong in our plastic manufacturing, actually. We are one of the largest plastic molding injections in Southeast Asia. So using our manufacturing experience, that's where we ventured into that. Similarly with data centers. Data centers is not a new thing. Data centers has been around for the last 20 years, right? And, for us as a group, over the last, I would say maybe 5-6 years or so, we have been studying internally as a group to say, hey, apart from real estate development, which is our bread and butter, we do need to find an avenue of recurring income, just to give us alternative source of revenues. For that, how should we leverage on our strength and what should we venture into. We studied, and obviously, some of our comrades, our peers in the industry, they have really gone into the retail mall businesses and hotels. So we find that that's not really our forte.
Oh, that's not a forte, even though you're in the property business?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't mean that you're in real estate, right? You're an expert in running retail. We know what we know and we know what we don't know. And the reality is, to be honest, we are probably a little bit late to the curve in the retail game. So we studied that. We find that wasn't suitable. As a real estate developer, we are opportunistic. Predominantly in Malaysia, what sells really well for us is our residential segment. A large portion of our business, probably I would say maybe 70 to 80%, is from residential sales. However, we have also ventured, and we are still very big in industrial. We have done 5 industrial parks, handed over, delivered, and we are on to our 6th one right now. And we are venturing more into industrials.
Okay.
So it is from that we realize, hey, there are actually opportunities where, rather than build and selling these factories, there are a lot of inquiries from, Fortune 500 companies, foreign companies, or even local companies. They are manufacturers. They say that, hey, I don't want to buy, build my factory. I just want to focus on manufacturing. So it gives us an opportunity where we can then build and lease to them. So it started from there. So naturally, from the industrial developments, there was a lot of inquiries that, hey, people want to buy up our lands for what? For data centers. And so then we try to dig in a little bit deeper. Why? And these inquiries came in 2-3 years ago. So instead of just flocking off the land for a one-off sale, right? You get a one-off gain, very good. But I think we try to understand the business a little bit more and to see what we can gain out of it. And from there, it progressed into, no wonder data center is actually, at the end of the day, it's the real estate play, right? Instead of storing goods, you store racks, you store data. And data is a growing commodity. You, me, all this will be stored online somewhere.
Data is the new oil.
Data is the new oil.
Yeah.
Whatever we have right here sitting in Malaysia, our data cannot be stored in the US. Right. What is dreaded by everyone is every time you turn on the phone or your iPad and you see the little tick, 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 it takes too long, right? So obviously your data needs to be stored closer to where the users are. Naturally, Southeast Asian, Malaysian data need to be stored on Malaysian soil.
Right.
So especially over the last 2 years, there was a huge push. There was a moratorium in Singapore, no more data in Singapore. That's where all the inquiries started to flow into Malaysia.
Right. But are we picking up things that people don't want?
No. In fact, this is exactly what people want.
Right.
In fact, if you ask me, if there wasn't the moratorium in Singapore, if Singapore didn't run out of power, they'll probably still be there or run out of land. But Singapore ran out of power and land. So that's why they're here. And we are very strategically located in a sense. Obviously, Singapore has always been a hub for a lot of these data center global players. Data center players are mostly global players. It's a hub for a lot of the big hyperscalers as a regional HQ. And these investments are very, very big. Gone are the days where data centers were very small and they talk about wattage is 1 megawatt, 3 megawatt, 5 megawatts. Last time, telco companies used to build data centers to store your SMSs. But today, as usage go higher and higher, the demands are much more.
Yep.
So data centers has never gone backwards. In fact, over the last 20 years, it has only gone more and more and more. And with AI, it needs even more power, even more space, even more requirements. And obviously, it comes cost is higher.
Okay.
You need more engineers.
Right.
You need more skilled people to run this data centers.
Can you help me to understand? Because I think for many people out there, data center is still something very new to them. And sometimes they don't know how does a data center make money. Maybe you can share with us when you build data centers, how do you monetize the asset?
To simply put it, it's a real estate play. We rent the space.
Correct. So there's a cap on how much you can make for the racks, right? Because you charge a fixed amount, I suppose.
Well, there will like anything like any rents.
Okay.
There will always be rental reviews. There will always be rental inflation. Over the years, it could be a few percent every year. So depending on how you negotiate the deal,
Okay.
It also can depend on how sophisticated your data center is built. So obviously, the higher the requirements, the higher your rents will be.
So there's a chance that data centers can be flipped into a REIT in the future.
Yes, I mean there are data center REITs around the world.
Right.
Right. It is relatively new in Malaysia, but globally, data center REITs are very, very big businesses. They are specific data center operators that operate like a REIT. I mean, the likes of, say, Equinix, these are big US companies, the likes of Equinix, the likes of, say, Digital Realty, they operate like a REIT. They give their investors a fixed amount of income every year, and they are growing.
Okay.
Simply because the demand for data storage is growing.
So is this Mah Sing's plan to come up with a data center REIT in the future?
Well, I mean, yes, it is. Obviously, in everything that we do, we always think of an exit strategy, whether we exit via a REIT or we exit in a way. It is always part of our plans, but we are now focusing. We are just at the start of our journey. So for us, like I said in the beginning, right, we know what we know, and we know what we don't know. We know the real estate development business very, very well. We know what the requirements of these data centers are. We need to know how to maneuver within the requirements of the government and the requirements of the off-takers. And therefore, we become like the master developer of a data center hub. So we provide the infrastructure that is required for data centers to be in our location. And of course, technically, the requirements are very, very high. The know-hows are very, very high.
So coming back to the question, the thing that I notice about property developers in general is that when there's a trend, let's say for example, right now, I think industrial land is the trend right now. So a lot of property developers, they will jump into building industrial parks and stuff like that. But then as investors, then very often during happy hour and all those stuff, we have discussion and all that, then we'll say, one day, there's going to be oversupply of industrial parks. And true enough, not too long to the future, this thing will happen. And this kind of scenario happens over and over again with residential properties, with commercial properties, and with industrial properties. So I want to ask your opinion, right? Because you know what you know, and you also know what you don't know. How do you maneuver that demand and supply issue when it comes to property development?
Property demand is always a cycle. Usually it comes in a 10-year cycle. Like anything that has to do with money, it always comes in a cycle. Stock market is a cycle. Demand for property is a cycle. I think knowing what we don't know. So we are very cautious when we expand into a field where we don't know. So we do need to have very, very good forecasting systems. We need to have very, very good market survey. We do need to have very, very good team members that is on the ground listening to the current demands and also supply that is out in the market. So we can then be prudent on what we push out. You know, over the years we have grown as a company. We have had our own pitfalls. We've fallen down as kids, but you know, over time we grow up a little bit more. We like to think we're a little bit more mature right now. We have a bit more knowledge and also experience. So we do rely a lot on smart forecasting, market surveys to see whether or not we over-launch or we try to sell too much. But as a property developer, we do also need to have land bank. And obviously, we land bank during these times. And when market is down, it's the best time to land bank, actually.
Is that what you're doing right now?
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, you just bought a piece of land in Taman Desa not too long ago.
Yes.
So apart from that, can you share with us what is your land banking strategy?
Real estate development is our bread and butter. And having land obviously is the main flower for us, right?
That's why it's called a land bank.
Yeah, that's why it's called a land bank. Yeah. We also cannot be over land banking, because then again, you know, you will chalk up too much of your cash is then stuck in the land bank if you don't put it to good use. We like to be good stewards of our money, and you know, our Tan Sri Leong always reminds us to be good stewards of our investments. Our gearing ratio is very, very low.
Yeah, almost close to zero.
Yeah. So that gives us sufficient dry powder to land bank strategically. And that's what we do, right? We strategically land bank some land, and obviously we need to churn out the products. When the market is good, we'll churn out the products because we have the land bank. Some land we land bank for strategic purposes. We feel that, okay, we have this land, but while we are selling this, we can plan that for the future. So that's really our strategy. I mean, we try to follow the cycle during times where it's a bit down, where that's where we try to land bank a little bit more. And obviously, when times are good, when we ramp up, when we have those sufficient land bank to give us the GDV that we need. And similarly, right, I mean, it also gives us the resources for us to venture into business. Like who actually predicted that Malaysia will be the next data center hub? It is actually the data center hub of Southeast Asia. At the moment. It is growing at such a fast pace. You know, I'm sure if you read over the news, developers that has land, strategic land in Malaysia will stand to gain. That's where we are, because we have resources that's available.
Right. So could you share with us a little bit on what kind of properties that Mah Sing plan to launch maybe in the next 18 months or so?
Our strategy have always been we are players in the mid-market segment. We like to be close to where most of our customers are. We want to be very, very close. I think over the years, like I said, we are mainly focused on the M40 and maybe some higher end of the B40 group. That is our main bread and butter products. I mean, over the last couple of years, I'm sure you hear some of the Tokenize affordable luxury. We try to push out good products where people can afford. That's really where we are. I mean, our buyers are range from the age of 25 to about maybe 50. That is our big bulk of our buyers. Of course, we do have industrial that gives us different revenues. Strategically, if the market is good and with the right land bank, we will sell luxury products. But like I said, majority is still within the mid market segment play.
Okay, residential, mid-market, M40,
residential,
that kind of range.
Commercial. I mean, certain shop lots. Of course, now is industrial, but we also try to target for the local players. Now, local buyers to us is very important. We are in all the major cities in Malaysia. So Penang, Klang Valley, Selangor, and of course Johor is very big for us. And we have always been very close to our customers nearby. We try to be as local as possible.
In the past, I noticed Mah Sing did a lot of high-rise residential units. But these days, I have a sense that it is changing its direction. It's going down into township building and that kind of development.
Not really.
Not really.
It depends on the demand. In KL area, where obviously there is no land. There's no land where you can do townships. And so in KL areas, we are building because, and obviously land is more expensive in KL. Definitely, you can only go up. You can only go up. So we are still, that's why the Taman Desa land, that's a high-rise development. Puchong, that's a high-rise development. And of course, we see there's still a demand for landed houses. So we also then buy township lands. So we have always been doing townships, right? In Johor, we have actually done like 4 townships. The biggest land bank for Mah Sing is actually in Johor. Right? We're in Meridian East, we're about 1,300 acres. Recently, we acquired a total of another 175 acres. But because we have access and we managed to source for good township lands, and that's where we go into it. Oh yeah, also we have 500 acres in Semenyih, and that's a township land as well.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I want to use that Taman Desa land as an example, right? So I think you bought the land for 100 million odd. All right, for the piece of land. And then in the news, it mentioned that it can fetch a GDV of 1 billion ringgit. Now, we all understand that GDV consists of construction costs, and then your land costs, and then the company margin as well. Can you share with us what is the breakdown of these three big categories in your GDV?
Well, I can only share with you like a general breakdown. I mean, land costs usually in Malaysia stands around plus and minus 15%.
Okay.
Then the bulk of it will go into construction costs, and especially nowadays, construction costs is very
escalating
escalating upwards. So we work very closely with the government, and obviously there will be a certain elements of cross subsidy as well, because in Taman Desa, we have to build a lot of Rumah Madani, which is a fantastic push. 900 square feet, 200,000 houses. It's really affordable, and really for that B40 segment where we read in the news where how houses are getting very unaffordable, and obviously, I think the government is trying to cater for that segment of the market, and they have to, and we all have to. We all have to work together to cater for that segment, and that's where that's cross subsidy comes from. right? And the government has always said that, obviously the people who have would have to generally support those who don't. And that's where some of these costs will also go into.
Well, speaking of Madani, subsidies and all that, do you have a wish list for the upcoming budget 2025?
Home ownership campaign, let's bring it back.
Home ownership.
Let's help Malaysians own more home, bring down the cost of home ownership. I think everybody is asking for that, right? If they can help raise the real income of the rakyat, or by reducing the burdens of the rakyat, being like I said, for developers, it will be home ownership campaigns, right? If you have to pay slightly less taxes or slightly less fees, I'm sure everybody will be very happy with that.
That's the funny thing, right? I mean, when we talk about the budget, we always think about how can the government help the rakyat. But sometimes I've been thinking to myself, if the government were to help you to source for cheaper raw material, maybe subsidize on your steel, on your cement and all that, would that help to lower the cost and therefore lower the prices of the properties? Then the rakyat can buy those houses.
Absolutely. And obviously I'm not in government.
Right.
But I think I understand the intricacies of operating the economy. The government is also trying not to rely on over subsidies. So sometimes, I understand in a way, a free economy somehow will reach a balance. And Malaysia, all these while, has been relying on a lot of subsidies on many things. In a way, whether or not too much subsidy is a bad thing. Obviously, it's an easy shot in the arm, right? To inject or throw subsidies is an easy shot in the arm. But long term, is it sustainable? I think they are trying to answer that question. At the end of the day, right, to me, inflation is not a bad thing. Inflation is not a bad thing,
everybody
right?
make money during inflation.
You just need it to be evenly distributed to everyone. Unfortunately, if inflation is then segmented to only few sectors, then obviously it's a very, very bad thing. So how can the government then juggle inflation evenly across to salaries, to income, to your bowl of noodles, right? So if that can all go up, I think everybody will be happy with inflation.
We talk a lot about property, but I just want to bring it back to one of your business segments, which is the manufacturing side, the PPE, you manufacture gloves and all that. This business came during the pandemic. You all decided that going into this glove business may help you to expand your income stream and all that. But COVID-19 has subsided. I think monkeypox, it's also under control and all that. So people kind of forget about this business as an investor. But let us just remind back the investors and the audience, right? What is the plan for this manufacturing segment within Mah Sing?
It is part of our manufacturing arm and it's still ongoing and the business is stable. You see, well, especially with the restrictions from the US against China, where now a lot of buyers of rubber gloves comes back to Southeast Asia. So glove prices has been going back up. But like I said, it's a very small business for us. It's only 12 lines. In the bigger engine of things, it takes up very, very small of our revenues. And it's also a diversification of our manufacturing business.
Right.
Yeah. So
then wouldn't use that resources to go into data center and buy more land and build more houses?
Oh, we have sufficient resources.
Oh yeah, that's true, because your gearing is close to
we
zero.
have sufficient resources because, and I don't look after the manufacturing arm, but as a company, we are opportunistic and we are a growing company. So we need to find areas where we can expand the business. Our manufacturing, obviously, revenues can grow. Similarly, we will have sufficient savings to grow our real estate and data center businesses as well. Oh, and industrial, wherever that is, So again, we will also have sufficient capital to expand into other businesses that we are also looking at. Smart cities, whatever that is. Again, within our core strength, we are always looking for new opportunities.
Right. Okay. So after 3-4 years, the manufacturing side you only have 12 lines.
For rubber glove, the plastic manufacturing is still growing very strong.
Yes, I was referring to the glove lines. You have 12 lines after 3 to 4 years. Do you plan to double it up, triple it up, so that you can catch the US market or any other plans you have?
No, not at the moment.
Okay.
Not at the moment.
Okay.
Like I said, we are focused on what we have, and we have a plan. And every time after we roll out the plan, we intend to stick to the plan until there is fruition. Then we'll move on, either to grow it or to other plans. Yeah. We are not, like I said, COVID-19, do the rubber glove, get the share price. We are not that kind of company. We are in the business, thick or thin, to grow a business.
Just now we also mentioned that Mah Sing is a very opportunistic company. So I think the other trendy word right now in the market is AI. And I understand that within Mah Sing, you also have a lot of all these tech initiatives going on inside there. Can you share with us some of these initiatives?
So actually, it all started, I mean, like a lot of companies. During COVID, we had a huge digital push. Like it or not, we all forced to. And in a way, we have benefited from it. A lot of our processes have been digitalized. In fact, in some of our home buyers, you would know a lot of, you have every time you buy a house now, you have an app. All your information is then given to you on the app, your billing information. If it's under construction, you will see our progress on the app, your billings, and later on, after the house is handed over to you, the bookings is all done on the app. So we have digitalized a lot of these processes. And the next thing, we have also digitalized a lot of even a construction process to monitor defects on the app, to help us smoothen or even shortcut a lot of these processes to make things more efficient. AI is something that is very naturally we will use as well. And we are still studying on what kind of AI that helps us. And it slowly it's really been creeping into our lives, right? On Microsoft Teams, we have co-pilots and stuff. So our staff, actually everyone is on a computer, and everyone is on Microsoft 365. Everyone is on Teams. Everyone for property management stuff, everyone is on the app. We monitor all our advertising spend all online. How much we spend, how much leads we have, what is the cost per lead. So we monitor everything now via a system. So it gives us more data than ever before. And we are still investing in infrastructures as such, so that we are given more data. And just now, we talked about smart forecasting. In order for us to be, nobody can be, we are not feng shui masters. We can only forecast with good data. And so data is very, very important for us. We invest in technology to give us more data and also structured data to be analyzed. So it also then upskills a lot of our staff, not just to be paper pushers. They become data analyzers. And again, right, so we do not need to have a bloated staff strength. And obviously, we need to slowly increase some of our staff's salary, because again, we have upskilled and upvalued their work. So that's where we are growing as a group.
Well, we talk about a lot of business, different segments, managing a lot of people and all that. Now I want to ask a question about yourself as a leader, managing so many different businesses with so many people under you, right? How do you manage that stress?
How do I manage that?
Yeah.
That's the next segment. I go to the gym and I do jiu-jitsu.
Oh, you go and do jiu-jitsu. So you release all the stress on your opponent.
I think it's important to enjoy what you do. That's very important first and foremost. If you don't enjoy what you do,
Right.
then you will burn out.
So what do you want to achieve in Mah Sing?
Well, personally, I would like to see the company grow in a
Right.
sustainable way. And I feel like anything in life, right? And any task that you give to anybody, you want to see whatever you are doing that is growing. I'm sure whatever task that you give to my team members, they will also want to see it come to fruition, to grow. I think it's important that aspect is then translated to the whole company. We are always reminded by Tan Sri Leong, right? He works very closely with all of us. I think the company culture, we work very closely as a group. We don't the boss is up there and everybody works in silo. No, we work very closely. We meet literally every other day in terms of how the strategy, in terms of the messaging, and in terms of how we translate the message to the rest of our team members, is how can we sustainably grow the company. Hopefully, when the company grows, our profit grows, and we can pay more bonuses.
Right.
I hope you're listening to this. Yeah.
Because this series is called So Different, right? So my last question would be, if you can turn back time to the first day you become CEO of the property subsidiary, how would you do things differently so that Mah Sing can be even better?
Well, that's the thing. I can't turn back time. On reflection, I feel that we always can spend more time to plan things better. And I always emphasize on planning. That is key to success. Of course, we cannot control everything. And certain things, there were always things that's happening to us. But if we plan it properly and we prepare, we gotta be more. We cannot be reactive. If we are a reactive manager, then
You're always one step behind.
we are always one step behind.
Yeah.
You're always trying to chase the tail. But if you plan properly, you have always plan A, plan B, plan C. You try to be one step ahead with whatever scenarios or bad. There will always be bad things happening. Moore's law. Always be something bad will happen. But if you plan properly, at least you are prepared for it.
All right, so that's how Mah Sing and Ben does things differently in Mah Sing. Thank you once again. Thanks, Ben.
No, thank you. Thanks
right.
for this.
Thank you.
Yeah.